along with a number of other sacred religious relics. So the Templars were highly motivated to hide something of great worth that we think that they discovered well in the Holy Land. And it is our thought that a money pit is Templar. In origin, why do you draw an inference that there's a Templar connection to the money? Pit Oak Island would be safe and secure. Hidden place to put sacred relics. The Templars were great engineers. They would have left a physical stone key and marker. And that's how the Templars passed down information: graffiti marks, stone buildings, architecture. So fast forward to the Nolan Cross. In 1981, Oak Island treasure hunter Fred Nolan discovered 5 massive cone-shaped boulders on his property, which he observed formed a perfectly symmetrical megalithic cross. Even more astonishing was the 6th stone he found buried at the center, which appeared to be carved in the likeness of a human skull. Your headstone? The skull. The head of the Nolan Cross is a huge signpost, if you will, that the Templar is with near the Nolan Cross, being literally the skull and crossbows. The head of the Nolan Cross is a huge signpost that the Templars were on Bulk Island in the War Room. Author and researcher Gretchen Cornwall, along with modern-day Templar. John Temple have just presented Rick Marty and the team with an incredible theory that the megalithic boulder formation on Oak Island, known as Nolan's Cross, was created by members of the Knights Templar in the 14th century, and that it is meant to signify that priceless religious treasures are buried deep in the money pit. The Nolan Cross is very precise mathematically, and the key to the money pit. The actual mathematics of Knowledge Cross must be looked at as an oval. They're on top of the bully pit. We know it's 90 feet down, using the northern claws as your measure, as your measurement. If you take 868 feet, which is the length of the cross, so if you just take 10% of that, which is tithing. Tithing is a key here. 10% of tithing. It was always about tithing, of giving 10%, 860. So we're talking 86.7 foot. Is that cross down the way? That is what we're looking at. The Nolan Cross being literally a key. If you could visualize, picking that structure up and putting it right down into the money pits. Then cross arms. It wouldn't have used 360 feet on the length bar, but they would have used 36 feet, which is 10%. I do believe that digging from the side was 36 foot and defined the covenant of build. According to John and Gretchen's theory, by overlaying Nolan's Cross with the original money pick, and then scaling down its dimensions, the result would act as a literal map and key to the treasure's precise location, hidden in a sign chamber, some 36 feet away from the main shaft. It's not in the money pit. It's off to the side somewhere. Yes. Well, is there just one problem? John and Gretchen Charles, you want to explain? Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't know where that original shaft is, since the money pit was first discovered in 1795. It has been the subject of numerous treasure hunting operations for more than 2 centuries. Because some of these search efforts were so extensive, and the area so altered, the exact location of the original treasure shaft has been lost over time. It's unfortunate that the opinions that John has rendered will not facilitate putting X on the ground in the money pit. It's just the money pit has no points of reference any longer. It's an interesting theory, but you have to be able to take a theory into the field. And unfortunately at this point, at least we're not able to do what we can do. We can give you some information regarding our most current work, and that might help you a little bit as you further your computations, all right? But even if it takes you another 5 years to actually find, what's that? There is something there, gentlemen, something more significant than anyone can imagine. Well, Gretchen John, you've certainly given us a lot to puzzle over, and we, for our part, all of us sitting around the table. Thank you very much for your time, considerations, and your knowledge. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks, sir. Take care. Later that day, Craig Tester and metal detection expert Gary Drayton, along with geologist Terry Matheson, are continuing their search of the spoils brought up from the team's drilling operation at the so-called Megabin site, some 600 feet northeast of the Money Pit. So we're going from Nightmare 88 to 98. You can see it's a pretty deformation right now. Here's a lot harder. It is in the same area that veteran Oak Island treasure hunter Dan Blankenship found compelling evidence of human activity, some 100 feet deep underground, including mysterious voids, wooden tunnels, and an impenetrable steel plate, believed to be protecting a possible treasure vault. Have you drilled through steel before? Yes. We've actually drilled through a railway track before. Oh, really? Yeah. Well, what kind of noise does it make when it goes through? Very metallicy, okay? There's definitely a shriek angle, especially as you core through it. There basically is like drilling without any lubrication, so you'll definitely hear the squeaks. I want to hear that noise at some point. Hey, Terry, expecting to hit bedrock or anything like that? Anytime? Or I would have thought a little deeper. Could it be what? Or is it, I don't think. So it's pretty dense. It could be a Halifax slate. It could be a grey slate. It's harder than slate. Whatever I'm on, I think harder than slate. This could be it. But this could be it. While drilling an exploratory borehole in the Megabin area, the Oak Island team has just encountered a mysterious obstruction. Teddy, you. What was your final doubt on that 99.5? Could the team have found evidence of the impenetrable metal object discovered by Dan Blankenship at the same depth back in 1973? A metal object he believed to be protecting an underground treasure vault. He was twerking at it, so much all their joints are locked out every song, because the drill is unable to penetrate the obstruction. The team will now examine the core sample in the hopes of determining what it is and possibly how to get through it. We don't know what's down there. If there is a plate, we'll see it. If there's a plate covering up something, then that's going to be huge. Would you get on this one? Sure what the heck we got here. Pretty confident rock, actually, and we like to refer to that as granite. Okay, we geologists, that's bedrock. And if we're in bedrock, best gonna finish this hole. Now that the team has struck bedrock at a depth of some 100 feet. Their exploration of the Megabin site has reached a disappointing end. Having found no sign of the massive chamber indicated in their seismic survey, or any evidence of the underground structures reported by Dan Blankenship, they must now decide whether to conduct further drilling in the area or move on to more promising targets at the Money Pit, Gentleman Morning. Guys didn't find anything that wasn't geological between 90 and 120. Nothing, just different clays and sometimes some boulders. But in general, clays almost the entire way. I think what they saw on the seismic is this sand interval right here. That's the problem with seismic. It's interpretive. You know, it's not a photograph. The data showed densities. This less dense layer that was interpreted as a possible tunnel, or a cavern or void, unfortunately is not so disappointing. But, now we know every piece of information, good or bad, ultimately is good info, so move on. Unfortunately, later that evening, so Jack, if you can ring Tobias up, brothers Marty and Rick Laguna gather with members of their team in the war room. Oh, Tobias, hi guys, they are eager to hear a report from German Mining Museum geochemist Tobias Gulpranik concerning the origins of the LED cross found last year at Smith Cove. So, Tobias, as you can probably understand, We're somewhat on pins and needles, hoping to hear what you have to tell us, so if you'd be again so kind. We're very anxious. Yeah. So I compare the lead as a top data of the cross that you gave me with my database of all partisan metals here. And I think I got some pretty interesting results for you. So as you already knew, the lead that was used for the cross cannot be from America. Comparing the data, I noticed that the lead isotopes of the cross are somehow related to European deposits, but I did not find any match with quarries that were used in the 15th to 17th centuries. I therefore went on and compared the lead isotopes of the cross with those of deposits where archaeologists know medieval mining took place, and I think I found the mess there. Really, yeah. And time period-wise, you think it's pre-15th century, then I think it's pre-15th century. Yes. Wow, you nailed it, girl. Yeah, fantastic. This could be template connected. I think it's 15th century. Yes, wow. Fantastic. Unbelievable sweet. During a meeting in Oak Island's war room, geochemist Tobias Kovaronic has just shared the results of an astonishing scientific report. It suggests that the lead used to make the cross found last year at Smith's Cove was mined from European deposits more than 600 years ago. Pre-15th century. That's hugely impressive. How certain about the time period are you it must be earlier? Because from the 15th century onwards, all the lead came from very big deposits in Poland and in Germany, and slightly different from that. So, I think the deposit from which this lead was mined is, too small to be exploited on an industrial scale. Wow, but where the heck did it come from? The data of the cross is very consistent with the area of southern France. Wow, look at him, look at him. Green like a Cheshire cat over there. I knew it, that's fantastic. That cross is associated with the Templar influence region in France. It's certainly the time of the Templars, 1300s, 1400s, or even earlier. All of that is astounding news. But it's not just the one item. It's what that item represents. And that item represents possibilities. What other answers reside in that cove? So Tobias, can you name a specific city or region? Most probably the area of two mountain ranges, the Sevens and the so-called Montagne. Noah? It's like 20 miles by 20 miles in the area. Run the shit off. Yeah, that's pretty close. Yeah, that's exactly where we were. Wow. Haha, wow. 4 years ago, Marty and Alex Lagina travelled to Rennes-le-Château, a village in southern France that has strong connections to the Knights Templar, dating back to the 13th century. Where is Marty? Nice to meet you there. They met with Toby Dombler, a modern-day Templar Grandmaster. If you were going to look for the treasure of the Knights Temple right now, today you would look on Oak Island, that's for sure. It was Toby's belief that members of the Knights Templar moved priceless religious artifact to Rennes-le-Château in the 14th century for safekeeping before transporting them to Scotland and later to Oak Island. Could the team finally have the hard scientific evidence they've been looking for? That the stories of a Templar journey to Oak Island are true? And if so, does that mean that the many legends about Templars hiding a vast treasure on Oak Island are true as well? It's stunning information, but I'm more stunned by the fact that it has propelled Marty to really give credence to the possibilities of something happened on this island. Centuries ago, it's a piece of data. I can't disregard data. Here's a piece that does support a very ancient landing on this island at least. And so it's pre-15th century. Is there any cutoff going back where you'd say, well, it can't be older than something, these mines where the LEDs came from were used from the Roman area onwards? This is indicated by pottery sherds that were found there, so it can be earlier. Look, Tobias, all we can do is say, thank you. I think you raised eyebrows right across the length and breadth to this table, certainly, and we'll have to discuss where we go with the information. You're very welcome, and I thank you to be involved. Thank you, Tobias. Appreciate it. We'll be in contact. Thank you. Bye. Wow. What do you think, Gary? I mean, I kind of figured it was medieval you did. That's why I believe that Cross is an historic find for North America. I'm overlooking the big picture. We haven't finished in Smith's Coat. We could find something even more fantastic than the cross. I mean, if it was made pre-15th century, and it was deposited near the time it was made, it is probably the most historic thing that's maybe ever happened in North America. Yeah, that's incredible news. The hunt continues for Rick Marty and their team. The exciting news that the lead in the cross found at Smith's Cove can be traced back more than 6 centuries and may also be connected to the activities of the Knights Templar. In France, offers a welcome validation. It also suggests they may be closer than ever to solving the 223-year-old Oak Island mystery. But as they prepare to embark on their mammoth excavation of Smith's Cove, what else will they find evidence of a vast treasure? Or will they discover something of even greater value? Perhaps the identities of those who left it there, and why, after more than 2 centuries of searching, has the mystery been so impossible to solve next time? On the Curse of Oak Island, a special 2-hour event. Woohoo. Not since Moses has the water been held back so well. The stars align through the island. This is a star map where the actual treasure is. This is one of your points. There's a huge boulder over here. It could be a landmark. Look at that. Almost all of them are leaking, but we're severely compromised. We can't function like this. I think we've got something over here. Oh look, there's something curved there. Holy smoke. I do think this is the 90-foot stone tonight, on the Curse of Oak Island. A special 2-hour event. Woohoo! Not since Moses has the water been held back. So well, stars align through the island. This is a star man where the actual treasury. This is one of your points. There's a huge boulder over here. It could be a landmark. Look at that. Almost all of them are leaking. Oh, we're severely compromised. We can't function like this. I think we've got something over here. Oh look, there's something curving. Holy smoke. I do think this is the 90-foot stone. There is an island in the North Atlantic where people have been looking for an incredible treasure for more than 200 years. So far, they have found a stone slab with strange symbols carved into it, mysterious fragments of human bone, and the lead cross whose origin may stretch back to the days of the Knights Templar. To date, 6 men have died trying to solve the mystery, and according to legend, 1 more will have to die before the treasure can be found. It is the start of another promising day on Oak Island, as Rick Lagina calls his brother Marty from the war room to report on the team's recent progress. Morning. Hey Rick, how's it going out there? Really good. You know, how we hate to say that. But last of the sheep piles should go in today, and Smith Cove. Yes, you know, we're on the brink of starting that project. And it's exciting. It's actually a bear. Wow, look how fast they're going 4 weeks ago. Rick Marty and their partners, along with the team from Urban Equipment Limited, began construction on their most ambitious and costliest project to date, a 500 to 25-foot-long steel confer dam. Surrounding Smith's Cove, quite impressive. So far, nearly all of what will be 117 interlocking steel sheets have been driven some 25 feet deep into the sea bag. This will allow the team to effectively seal off Smith's Cove from the Atlantic Ocean, drain the area, and then conduct an intensive excavation. It's very exciting to be able to really excavate in Smith's Cove. And I think this sheet piling system is going to do it. And the hope, of course, is that we will find whatever there is to find in Smith's Cove. And my hope is who and when those answers will be dealt with. Hey, Ricky. It occurs to me, we had a lot of trouble just washing the hammer grab stuff last year, and we're going to be looking for anything we can find. It's Miss Gold in past years. All of the team spoils had to be painstakingly washed and then carefully sifted by hand, not saying anything back to the spoil piles. Come on, baby, the process was not only messy, but was so painstakingly slow that much of the material could be examined for several days, or in some cases months. Any thoughts about the massive amount of material? The good news about that is there's a wash plant. Turns out for sale at a quarry, so I'm going to go look at it. It's still in operation, so we can actually fire it up. Well, good on you, Rick, because it's going to be a logistical issue handling all that material. Especially since, the exercise would be pointless if we don't search it all. Absolutely good. Can't wait to go and join you. I'll be out there tomorrow. Appreciate that we miss you, as all get back here. All right, see you tomorrow. All right, see ya. Following the call with his brother Marty, Rick Lagina. Ciao. Charles Barkhouse, Dave Blankenship, and Dan Henske head to Smith's Cove. With a team from Urban Equipment Limited, is about to complete construction of the massive steel coffer dam. How many more sheets? Like that's the last one. That's it. Yeah, how far are these in the embedded? Well, you see the 20-foot mark right there. So we've got about 17 feet of embedment into the dirt. I'll tell you what, he couldn't have gone better, given all the potential problems. No, it went quite well. Yeah, but you do believe you got to put 2 6-inch pumps on there. You have to draw the groundwaters out of it, because if you don't, you'll have a continuous flow, just trickling in all the time that you're going to be battling against. And you have to get that out to be able to maintain it, right? Right before the team can begin their excavation of the cove. The entire area must be completely drained, more than 100,000 gallons of seawater. To accomplish this, the team will be using 2 12-horsepower sump-pops, each running 15 hours a day. We have the possibility of finding hopefully some culturally influenced artifacts that will answer some of the who, what, when, where, why, and how questions. No, I think you're going to uncover a lot of information here. This is going to really help. I think you and your team should be very proud of what you accomplished, and we're very grateful for it. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Hey guys, good luck. We can use some later that day, as the team begins preparations to drain Smith's Cove. Where do you want it? Charles, look, I got a couple blocks over here. Why don't we set it up on those? Okay, Jack Begley, Charles Barkhouse, and researcher Doug Kroll install a new artifact for display at the Oak Island Interpretive Center. Everybody be careful, because this thing is heavy. Charles has asked Jack. I come over and help him move a stone at Fred Nolan. Found years ago, Fred thought it was a boundary marker, or perhaps a pointer stone, that pointed into the swamp. In Fred's opinion, he definitely was the stone that was worked by man. It was triangular, and shape made it really unusual. I wish I had seen it in its original location, but I think it's going to find a fitting home on display for the public. I know Fred put great importance on this stone as a survey monument, and it's been in storage for quite a while, and I've been quite anxious to get it in the museum. It's nice that we have it next to the 90-foot stone. Yeah, when you think of elements in the original legend and the lore of Oak Island. Yeah, the 90-foot stone is pretty prominent for more than 2 centuries. The 90-foot stone has been the subject of numerous theories, speculations, and myths, It was discovered in 1804, while treasure hunters were excavating the original money pit. At every 10 feet, they found evidence of wooden platforms made of oak planking. But when they reached a depth of 90 feet, they discovered a large ball of colored slab with a series of strange markings carved into it. Markings which, when later translated, were believed to read 40 feet below. 2 million pounds are buried. When the stone was first removed, it seemed to trigger a booby trap which flooded the money pit. A situation that continues to plague that area of the island to this day. You know, I'd really like to get back to the bookbinder and take another look. I feel like when we were in the basement there and exploring around that we never fully got under all of the foundation of the bookbinder itself. I don't think we did. This photo is the last known location of the 90-foot stone. This is it, and we're looking at it. I can tell right now. Right there 2 years ago, Doug and Charles, along with Alex Lagina, visited the Nova Scotia College of Art and Design in nearby Halifax, the place where the 90-foot stone was last seen. Nearly 100 years ago. They were hoping to find, if not the actual stone information that might lead to its current whereabouts. Careful, the debris on the floor. Yeah, geez, look at this place. But after searching through a virtual maze of basement corridors and crawl spaces, they found no sign of the mysterious artifact. I think it's a bust, but we can bring the 90-foot stone back home. That would be a good day. Yep, I think it'd be worth contacting the bookbinder and have another look. Yeah, but time I made that call. We'll lock up and get out of here. Let's get back to work. Following his review of operations at Smith's Cove, Rick Lagina, along with Dave Blankenship and geophysical engineer John Wonnacott, travel some 20 miles southwest to the town of Bridgewater, Nova Scotia. Rose-corridored, they have come to check out an industrial-sized wash plant, one they hope will be able to process the massive amount of spoils that will be dredged up during the excavation of Smith's Cove. I mean, we know that Smith Cove presents certainly a variety of problems. One of which is, how do you process such a huge volume of material? And the hope is that this is something that we may be able to utilize as part of our process. That's the machine. I take it that's the machine? Yeah, can you just give us a basic rundown of the operation? I mean, I get the point that the material goes in the hopper, but then exactly what happens? Well, there's very simple record. You put it in the opera. Like you said, it picks it up at that point. It takes it up to the screen or deck, and it does the screening process. As they are shaken, you think you could get this started for us so we can take a look at it? I can start it up if you want. Yep, pretty quiet. It ain't run again. It's only a high look. Okay, there we go. As each load of excavated material or spoils is fed into the hopper, they will be transported by way of a conveyor belt up and into a heavy-duty grave, which will filter out any large rocks or debris. The remaining soils are then distributed onto 2 separate shaker decks, where they are then sorted according to size soil, and bits of sediment are literally shaken off as a series of fixed spray nozzles. Wash the spoils clean. They are then deposited into uniform piles that will be further examined by hand for possible artifacts, or hopefully evidence of treasure. We can't do it as we have done before, and washing the material, the volume of material is far too great. It's very simple. The wash plant will allow us to move material, wash it, and then get Gary Drayton, the metal detector. I'll be honest, I think we should pull the trigger on this. I think we should really do it and get it set up and get going. Yep. Done it to a door, it does. Yeah, man, this is nice. I mean, look at this as a groove. Yep, all in the same area. What these different pieces of materials tell me. I believe this is a new site. And that would really be fantastic. Yeah, concrete. Yep. I think with the potential British military encampment so close by on the island, it's totally possible that we've actually found a little bit more evidence that maybe this part of the island was a staging point for something else. And potentially even the original works in this fresh territory. We're thinking this is potentially another game changer. Hey, Pete. Hey, I'm out here with Gary and Alex. We found something pretty interesting. Really, where you were on Lock 24. Okay, just give me a few minutes and I'll be there also. Okay, mate? Hey guys, where are you over here after discovering what could be a significant news search site? Alex Lagina has asked his uncle Rick Lagina to come and examine the team's recent finds. We've got some good stuff here. Check this out. We put them on a rock so that we can keep them separate. So this all came out of that hole. Right there. Yeah, this is what we were originally digging for, but looked like a latch-hole door latch or something. It's a curious eclectic number of finds. I mean, that's, quite remarkable. It's significant because we've just been able to access the entirety of Lot 24 by this mulching program we've undertaken. And Gary can finally get into these areas, which have been inaccessible all these years. It's exciting. So we thought we would stop digging here and maybe get Laird. Yeah, I think you did the right thing. Yeah. I think we need to move off of here and let Laird render an opinion. Done it to a door? It does? Yeah, man, this is nice. I mean, look at this as a groove. Yep, all in the same area. What these different pieces of materials tell me. I believe this is a new site, and that would really be fantastic. Yeah, concrete. Yep. I think with the potential British military encampment so close by on the island, it's totally possible that we've actually found a little bit more evidence that maybe this part of the island was a staging point for something else. And potentially even the original works in this fresh territory. We're thinking this is potentially another game changer. Hey, Pete. Hey, I'm out here with Gary and Alex. We found something pretty interesting, really. Where are you? We're on Lock 24. Okay, just give me a few minutes and I'll be there. Also, okay, mate, hey guys, where are you? Over here after discovering what could be a significant news search site. Alex Lagina has asked his uncle Rick Lagina to come and examine the team's recent finds. We've got some good stuff here. Check this out, we put them on a rock so that we can keep them separate. So this all came out of that hole right there. Yeah, this is what we were originally digging for, but looked like a latch-hole door latch or something. It's a curious eclectic number of finds. I mean, that's, quite remarkable. It's significant because we've just been able to access the entirety of Lot 24 by this mulching program we've undertaken. And Gary can finally get into these areas, which have been inaccessible all these years. It's exciting. So we thought we would stop digging here and maybe get Laird. Yeah, I think you did the right thing. Yeah, I think we need to move off of here and let Laird render an opinion. The stones seem to vanish without a trace. Let's get in there and see what we can find. Good to see you again. Great to see you again. Yes? Okay, see you again. Hey, Joe. Oh, here we are. Yes. Again? Yes? As I was telling you on the phone, I just feel we haven't really explored all of the basement. Total Maysound, that's for sure. Yeah, it sure was. But we didn't find the stone. I'd really like to get down there and explore and see if we can get in under the actual bookbinder itself. Okay, let's have a look. Awesome lead on. So how big is the bookbinder is? Did it used to be much larger? No, it was about this size. But on the other side of the building? Yeah, it was back more in line with the grey unit. Here, why are we going down here? Well, the basement entrance. The basement starts here, and then moves north. You'll see when we get down there, Jack. It's really hard to get your bearings, but you'll get disoriented pretty quick. I think there is a really good chance that Doug's correct, that the 90-foot stone is hidden somewhere at Nazcat. It's worth at least a second try, because to be able to bring one of the major pieces of this puzzle back to the island would be really rewarding. What do we got here? Joe, this is a series of basements underneath the weir. The bookbinding would have been careful. So we're directly under the bookbinder right now. Yes, this should be the space. We haven't been in here before. No, this doesn't look familiar at all, no. So I'm going down. We have a look at the Nova Scotia College of Art and Design in the city of Halifax. Oh man, be careful, there's all kinds of stuff all over the floor down here. Jack Bigley, Charles Barkhouse, and Doug Kroll are exploring the basement of the building, where Oak Island's infamous 90-foot stone was last seen more than 100 years ago. That's really creepy. Geez, this is a really gross basement. It's musty. There's cobwebs everywhere. I mean, everywhere, covering the walls, covering everything. Oops, there's a lot of just forgotten stuff. I don't remember us being in here at all. No, we weren't in any crawl spaces like this. No, this is not familiar at all. There's a crawl space back here. There's a stone back here. But it's definitely not big enough. That building seems to be ever-changing. We've been looking through the basement. And again, there's new additions, new petitions. It really is like amazing. We haven't found the spot I feel is directly into the book writer yet. But we're going to keep looking. You see anything, Doug? No rock wall. Lots of old brick. Yeah. This quarter is kind of interesting, though, because it looks like it might have been open at one time. Yeah, there's a lot of loose brick right there. There's a lot of wires here, Charles. Just to make sure you don't come in contact with a bare one. Oh God, I know anything interesting, Jack. Yeah, there's a bunch of spider webs over here. There's spider webs everywhere. There's junk everywhere. You can tell no one's been down in this part of the basement for a really, really long time. Hey guys, you seen anything yet? Watch out for rats. That's for sure. What was that? Hey, Sam just crawled back there as Jack, Doug, and Charles continue their search for the 90-foot stone. Marty Lagina returns to Oak Island, eager to get a first-hand look at the team's progress while he was away. All right, Rick, I've been gone a long time. What did you accomplish? Everything is in place right now. I'm just back on the island, and I'm very eager to see what's been accomplished in Smith's Cove. The guys have done a lot since I've been gone, so I'm going to put my own eyes on it all. Right, well, I guess things have changed here, right? Whoa, yep. Whoa, wait till you see it. I do see it. No, you don't. Not tell you, walk in the crane pad will. You know, that is really cool, because we're at mid-tide. Look at that. Not since Moses has the water been held back, so wait till you stand up there. Unless you'll not know how the scope of it. Very impressive. I say, we're ready to dig. We can hold off pirates with this thing. I knew the cofferdam was going to be a massive project, and when I came down that hill and saw it, I really thought, wow. That is quite a structure, and I know Rick did an enormous amount of work to perfect it. It's very impressive. You know, when you get out here, it looks a lot bigger, didn't it? Back there, it looks like a small area. You just stand here. Stand here? Yeah, water out there. Man, you've done a lot of work. Yep, we all have. This is going to be fun. But it is going to dish up a load of problems. Problems are easily dealt with it. The surprises and the finds, and the story of what the U-shaped structure is, what's underneath it. What we might find in association with it, every time we do something out here. It's amazing what the people before us did. They didn't have any of this. these resources? Nope. In the early 1970s, Oak Island resident and veteran treasure hunter Dan Blankenship conducted his own large-scale excavation of Smith's Cove. It was then, while searching for evidence of the legendary flood tunnel box drains, that Dan made an unusual and astonishing find: a 65-foot-long wooden U-shaped structure located some 10 feet deep, and on it were carved a series of Roman numerals. But before Dan could carefully examine his mysterious new discovery, severe storms destroyed the cover dam and once again buried the U-shaped structure. It hasn't been seen since Way to Project. You got going here, big brother. We have a project, yes. As Rick and Marty finished their inspection of the Confer Dam at Smith's Cove, some 50 miles northeast of Oak Island, I think this Crawlsby has been a catch-all for things for decades. Jack Bengley, Charles Barkhouse, and Doug Kroll continue their search for evidence of the so-called 90-foot stone. Anything, Jack? I'm headed back over towards you guys. Not seen anything except for just old gel. Lots of broken glass on the ground. 2 guys. Oh, look at that, guys. I think we've got something over here. What do you think that is? Look at that man if that isn't close to 2 feet. I don't know what is. Does it have any markings on it? I don't understand. I don't understand. Oh, look, there's something curved there. It's a stone, close to the right dimensions. Close your eyes, Jack, all right? There's a couple of letters by the looks of it. Charles, it looks to me like an LNL. Her Charles. It's even got rounded corners. There's no sharp corners on this thing. This may be the stone. Let's get this up on the deck. All right, you ready? Yep, I'm ready. Here we go. The reason why we actually did bring a cat rental unit here. Hi guys, hey. How are you lugging in here? Now a little something to show you. Wow, it doesn't look very little. Something little? Something looks like a little heavy. Something that's a big sight. Heavy. Whoa. Holy smokes, all right. We're ready. Can I touch it? It's a smooth rock. What am I supposed to be seeing? Dugwell. Gentlemen, this particular stone came from the bookbinder in Halifax. It was in a crawl space in the NASCAD building. Right where it was supposed to be, in my opinion. Because I do think that this is the stone that Bowden saw in the book, Binary. The one, this wait a second. The 90-foot stone. The supposed 90-foot stone. Where's all the inscription writing on it, right? Remember what Bowden wrote about it. In 1911, he wrote that he saw the stone, that the inscription was worn off of it due to beating leather on it in the book Binary. So supposedly the symbols were worn off it in 1909. Upon hearing reports that the 90-foot stone was on 180 display in a Halifax bookstore, Oak Island treasure hunter Captain Henry L. Bowden traveled there to see it firsthand. He was hoping that by finding the original stone and carefully examining the carved symbols and markings, he might be able to find clues in the stone that had been previously overlooked. Unfortunately, when he arrived, he was horrified to discover that the stone was being used as a slab for beating and cutting leather, and that years of repeated blows from the bookbinder's hammer had left the inscription so damaged that it was almost completely worn away. The only carvings on the stone that Bowden could make out were the initials L and N, but nothing similar to the symbols that had earlier been reported. Bowden left the book, Bindry both disappointed and empty-handed. How long between when it was found and how long was it beaten on to get rid of? Take a lot to get rid of the car rings. Yeah, the literature says they weren't deeply carved, even when they first found the stone. Etched or lightly engraved. But Bowden said there were only 2 initials left on it that he could see at that time. And if you look right there, gentlemen, you see 2 well-curved initials. Oh, LN. Is this an L? That's right. It has the appearance of LN. That's interesting, yeah? Sounds good so far. Yeah, the statement said it was close to 200 pounds. I'm pretty sure it's close to 200 pounds, isn't it? Jack, the other things he said in a statement about the stone was that it was flat on two sides, that it had rounded corners, that it was about 10 inches thick, about 15 inches wide, and about 2 feet long. The dimensions are almost exactly as it indigenous to Nova Scotia. It's not. That's very interesting because if you're going to get a replica, you're going to get a stone. A local stone. Exactly what they brought in. Fits a lot of the descriptions of stone checks, all the boxes, same size, same dimension, same weight. There appear to be some very faint carvings in the face of the stone. It could be the original stone, could be a huge breakthrough. It's exciting, it's just the beginning, okay? Well, do you know that in Stonehenge, just very recently they did some kind of laser, and they found all kinds of ancient carvings and that you can't see with the naked eye. Is that right? In 2002, a team of researchers from Wessex Archaeology and Archaeoptics in Salisbury, England, conducted a high-tech examination of Stonehenge using high-resolution laser scanners capable of recording details as small as 0.5 millimeter. They discovered numerous carvings that had been impossible to detect. With the naked eye, could this same technology allow the team to recover markings on the suspected 90-foot stone that could help them find the Oak Island treasure? There are techniques used at Stonehenge that can find carvings that have been obliterated. You can see where they were. Look we tracked on the stone was seen almost 100 years ago. That's encouraging. This is a real mystery, and we're trying to apply hard science to it, and a real science with real professionals. And I think this begets that there is information out there. We just have to find it. Can we see if we can have that done? We need to. That would be if there's any remains. Because there are so many marks. Yeah, if that really is the 90-foot stone. And if we can apply some technology and actually see the inscription, I'm going to be pretty excited. And let's get Laird to look at it. Yes, absolutely stand over the top of this. No question about it, and I would like a geologist. Yeah, I think there's a consensus. This is the stone that was in the books, right? In the book, right? Could be the 90-foot stone. Yeah, absolutely. The next morning, let's take a look. Rick Lagina and Craig Testa head to Smith's. They are eager to see if efforts to drain the newly enclosed area have been successful. All right, cross your fingers. Once dry, the team will be able to safely excavate the cove in hopes of rediscovering the mysterious U-shaped structure. It doesn't look too bad. This is high tide, right? This is high tide. Well, remember what it looked like. That low tide, yeah, looks quite a bit the same. Oh, look at that. Right here too, horns through there. What Rick and Craig have noticed is not a good sign. Any leak, no matter how small, will force the team to shut down the entire Smith Cove operation. That's not going to work. Seems like all the water's coming in. Right there. Just those two alone introduce a lot of water. That was significant right there. They've got 3 major leaks. We see several locations in the sheet pile works, where water is literally flowing in at a substantial rate. Almost all of them are leaking. Look at where the water marker's coming through. You can't be watering this every single day. Not that much. I expected some water coming. I didn't expect that. No, that's pouring in there. Finding what now appears to be several leaks in what was supposed to be a watertight barrier is a devastating development for Rick Marty and their partners. It could mean that after 1 year of planning and more than $1 million invested, the operation at Smith's Cove is over before it begins. We're severely compromised if we can't fail to staunch the incoming water. I mean, we can't proceed. You cannot do a dig at the U-shaped structure and properly expose it if we're chest high in liquid MU'd. It's just not going to happen. But there certainly is a significant problem at this point. It's a call. We have to call Mike and see how we can address this. Yeah, we can't function like this. No, shortly after the devastating discovery that the Steel-Comfer Dam at Smith's Cove has developed a large number of leaks, Rick Lagina and his partner, Craig Tester, have placed an emergency call to representatives from Irving Equipment. Limited hello, hey. Good morning, Mike. This is Rick and Craig. Hi, guys, we did as you suggested. We did run the primer inside Nowton. There's more than a few, what we consider to be substantial leaks. How many reaches are possibly of the whole wall? Well, any kind of leaks, there was over 30 and more significant ones. This is coming inward. There was like 5 or 6, but that was what we could see above the water level. We don't know how many were below the water level. Okay? The prime directive, as you all know, Mike, was the get it as dry as possible, right? We can't be down there and, dig 10 feet deep and have water sloshing around our hips. I mean, just can't happen. We're wondering if there's some way that, you can address that. It's the typical emotional roller coaster ride on. Okay, tonight it's beyond frustrating, beyond disappointing it. But it just is, and you have to deal with it, and you have to move on. You apply that in that lock, but you're going to have to introduce pumping when you start doing all this, because you need to get clear the water on the inside, with applications ranging from common home repairs to commercial construction and manufacturing. Silicone is a rubber-like adhesive capable of creating a flexible bond. It is also highly resistant to water friction and extreme temperatures. So if you mark those locks from the inside that are leaking, so now you know where they are when the tide goes out. So at low tide, you lock the perimeter on the outside, and you apply silicone in that lock on the face of the lock, not down the lock. That's right. Right on the face of the lock, on the outside of the wall. Because putting on the inside of the wall is not going to do you any good, because the pressure you wanted to push it out, right? But on the other side of the water pressure, water will hold it in, and when the water goes down, it'll still stay there. And what I'll do is I'll touch base with the office and see if we have availability to make a rundown and assist you with that. Well, we appreciate you working with us. Mike, we're quite inexperienced in this arena, so we're relying on your expertise. All right, thank you, guys. All right, thank you. Mike, take care. By the next morning, Rick Lagina, along with his nephews, Alex Lagina and Peter Finetti, join metal detection expert Gary Drayton and archaeologist Laird Nivet on Lot 24. Okay, here we are. Yeah, So this is what we found, and we had a metal detector hit here, and we started investigating, looking for the metal object. Yeah. Pretty soon, we started seeing little chunks of other things in the dirt that he had pulled out, which is this bag here. Every time I put my hand in, they all pulled it back out. There was something else interesting. Okay, in the area. Yeah, so we've got a few different kinds of pottery. It is glazed and unglazed. Yeah, so that's hand-painted pearlware. So that's 1780s. Okay, that's nice. That's what we like to see. That's like a little bit earlier than the other stuff you've been seeing. Yeah. And there's this metal object that we ended up finding. Not sure exactly what to make of that. I thought that was probably like a latch. Yeah, told me this decorative iron. Yeah, and twisted. So this does make your toes tingle. Yeah, absolutely it does. It does. Although the ultimate goal of the Oak Island team is not to find pottery and pieces of antique metal. They are hoping that by carefully searching for and examining man-made artifacts, they can piece together a virtual timeline of what might have happened on Oak Island prior to the discovery of the Money Pit. In 1795, so far the team has found evidence not only of British, but also French and Spanish activity on Oak Island, dating as far back as the 17th century. It's a variety of finds, and that's what made it interesting, and we can feel rocks in there. So who knows what else is in the old? I haven't explored that all, or put my hand on there, but you're indicating there's a substantial amount of rock in there. Yeah, why would that be? It could in theory be there's only one way to find out, is to delineate it. I think we're all intrigued enough to want to wonder what else. No, absolutely. It's seemingly in the middle of nowhere, right? So how would you grid it up? I clean it off first, and then we do any 1 meter by 2 meters kind of grid. Yeah. So why don't we do that? Okay. Do you want to stay or start this process? Sure. Cool. Okay. Mike, good luck. All right. Thank you. Okay, lead on, guys. While area archaeologist Lair Devon begins to carefully excavate the mysterious site on Lot, 24 brothers, Rick and Marty Lagina, head to the war room where they have called an important meeting with members of their Oak Island team. Well, gents, I have had the opportunity to make contact with an incredibly well-credentialed person in the field of seismic, and actually a whole bunch of other stuff. His name is Travis Taylor, and to that. And Charles hit the screen. Travis, you are now in the war room. Welcome. Oh, thanks. Nice to see you guys. Why don't you get real? Briefly what your background is, right? Okay, well, I've worked with the aerospace and defense industry and the intelligence community for 25 years. Pretty much since I was a teenager, Dr. Travis Taylor is an astrophysicist and aerospace engineer with degrees in the fields of optical sciences, quantum physics, and astronomy. He has also spent more than 2 decades working closely with the United States government on numerous classified programs for both NASA and the Department of Defense. So I like to solve problems. In fact, that's what I do, is I find hard problems and solve them, and or at least attempt to where you found one. Yeah, this looks like a very interesting conundrum, and I've got to watch what you guys have done. And I know you've done 1 seismic test and some ground-penetrating radar. Yeah, we ran EM61. We ran MEGS. We ran, GPR, right? We've had problems interpreting the data. Yeah, not real happy with the data. Okay, ready to go, Roger. Here comes earlier this year. The Lagunas and their partners commissioned Eagle Canada, a geophysical exploration company, to conduct extensive seismic testing on Oak Island. The process involved the detonation of more than 15 dynamite charges, which send shock waves deep into the earth after these waves were carefully recorded and measured. This anomaly here, very interesting. The team was presented with a virtual map of possible tunnels, chambers, and anomalies that might lie as much as 200 feet deep underground. Is that consistent with a chamber? Yeah, it is. Wow. Oh, whoa, that's definitely vertical. That's a whole piece. I think he hit the tunnel from Chapter 6, although the seismic maps have LED'd the team to discover incredible new evidence. The precise whereabouts of the treasure vault remains a mystery. It's all been valuable data, but none of it has unlocked the riddle. Like we wanted the results that we sought. It's all about information. I was hoping, we would get some relevant information. It's not done yet. So that's the hope. We're kind of eager to know what you think you might be able to help us with. Well, I have worked on a seismic program before. If I could get a look at the seismic data that you guys have taken, maybe we can compile it and do something called data fusion, where we use all the sensors and compile that information together. Sometimes it shows you something that you don't realize there. I tell you right now, if you're willing to help us, or at least try to help us, I don't see we'd be foolish not to. Yeah. It's like bringing in a team with all those degrees, haha. Well, I can't promise anything because it's possible that there's nothing in the date. Yeah, I understand. No, I listen. I would have discounted you right away if you promised me anything on Oak Island. Seismic has not worked so far in terms of results. But we hope to refine it, give it another go and, see if we can get some. Oh, yes. Okay, well, I think we have a plan here, and we thank you for wanting to be involved. Oh, I appreciate you guys give me the opportunity, and maybe we can find something. Yep, perfect. Thank you very much. See you guys, thank you. Bye-bye, well, that's great. Look forward to the data, but, let's get back to work, following his meeting in the war room. Hope he's found something. Yeah. Rick Lagina and his nephew, Peter Finetti, returned to Lock 24. You've been busy, hey? Yeah. How's the process coming? Well, lots of rocks. Does it go that way? Or does it end? I ended at the trees. Goes further that way. And there's a rock just in here. Right there. So you can see the higher area here was filled in. And then the artifact you were finding are from the later occupation. What is it telling you? Well, the fact that you found artifacts means that humans were probably occupying this place. The larger stones could be structural. The smaller stones could be fill, so it could be a shaft or tunnel that was filled in. A shaft or tunnel could the team have found what was once the entrance to Secret Man, made workings underground. But if so, who built it? And for what purpose? We're always looking for clues. About underground work, having been done on this end of the island. There's Dan's belief in Fred's long-held belief that there was extensive work done here. Right. One of the rare times that Dan Blankenship at Fred Nolan were able to agree on something. They agreed on this, that the underground workings were very complex, and they were not limited to the money pit they extended into the Western Problem. Here, we now have Laird, indicating there is a possibility that there's an underground structure here on the Western Drum. That's what we're looking for. Tunnels under Oak Island. How would you approach it if we wanted to explore this further? I.e., deeper. How would we go about that process to see if it is a shaft or a tunnel? Probably try to section it that way. We can see the stratigraphy vertically, and then proceed to record and remove the rocks. I see. So right now you're intrigued. Oh, absolutely. So the next step is sending that off to get the permanent. Yeah, before you work for further. Yeah, I apply for another permanent. When Larry indicates to us that he feels this is important, that it needs to be under his supervision, that's a good thing because there's something going on here. What it is, it's too early to say. This could be a significant fight. Yeah, it's certainly starting off with more promise than last year, after the discovery of a possible tunnel on Lot 24. Hey guys, Rick and Marty Lagina, along with other members of the Oak Island team, gather at the Mug and Anchor pub in nearby Mahone Bay. So the update is, Larry explored a lot. 24 area, dug a site about. It's about size 2 tables, and there's substantial amount of rock in the home. The majority of them appear to be laid, or perhaps placed there. And because of what he has found, he feels it's a tunnel to what we don't know yet. But everything is good. He will be back next week to continue that dig. And hopefully we'll get some answers. Well, if it gets an archaeologist attention, it's clearly significant. And if those guys hadn't cleared that track down there, we would never film it. and we're finding new areas on Oak Island, undiscovered areas. Because of the clearing certainly has opened up the lots that you work. They were inaccessible before, and I haven't finished yet. We have got a lot of area to cover. Still. Okay, well, good. Keep it coming. Yep. This is a previously unknown ancient, in the sense of at least several hundred-year-old structure on Oak Island that may be archaeologically significant. And the reason I say that is because Laird thinks it's archaeologically significant. His conjecture is that it could be a tunnel of some sort, so it's going to investigate it the way archaeologists do. And that means with a troll. So it's going to be a while before we have answers there. So new information coming every day. Good one of these discoveries is going to be a breakthrough. Yeah, thank you for the news. Guys to the huts with the new day. Ahead of them, Alex Lagina and Peter Finetti begin the process of patching the massive steel Confer Dam at Smith's Cove, because the silicone-based caulking compound must be applied on the ocean side of the wall. Alex and Peter need to work quickly while the tide is low. Peter, according to Uncle Rick, this is leaking pretty bad out here. So we're going to go around and caulk up all the seams here. Maybe seal them off a little bit better and keep it a little drier in there. All right, I guess. If it looks inadequate, then we'll hit it. Yep, because we don't have a lot of time out here. I think most of it is probably underground, but the sea page. Yeah, but anything we can do to slow it down is going to help. As Alex and Peter continue caulking the steel copper dam, guys. I'm very pleased to have Travis Taylor with us today, brothers Rick and Marty Lagina, along with their partner Greg Tester and other members of their Oak Island team. Welcome aerospace engineer Dr. Travis Taylor to the War Room. He has come to present his findings after reviewing the underground seismic data the team received earlier this year. So you've done some investigative work, and you have some stuff to show us? I understand. Yeah, I do. So to start with, I'll show you the analysis. Now, the seismic data that you guys sent me, there was a lot of it that was kind of much to do about nothing. So then I did some more post-processing on the data specifically through the money pit area here, and you can see clear anomalies between 20 and 30 meters of depth. When you say clear anomaly, indicating vertical structures, there are vertical striations in all of it, which suggests to me that there might be some shafts or voids that are vertical along places. When you say voids, are you meaning an open area? Or just a density contrast from a hard rock to a, water air? Or maybe just soft material? Yeah. So, from the data, all I can really say is it was a complete opposite in densities. Okay, right, so I don't know if it was granite or if it was empty, right? There's clearly something there. But all I can say is it's an anomaly in the density of the material, right? This anomaly here, very interesting, is that consistent with the chamber? Yeah, it is. Wow, because seismic scanning detected what appeared to be a mysterious underground chamber located some 50 feet deep in the so-called Megabin area. The team employed sonic drilling in an effort to find it. I think I'm going to have to operate. Rick, unfortunately, what everyone had hoped was a man-made. Chamber turned out to be nothing more than a thick layer of sand. Oh yeah, it's just sandy. Chill to me from a seismic standpoint. This may be the anoma they were seeing at this point. It's no longer science. It's an art in the artistry of seismic. Is the interpretive. It's a talent, and quite unique. All right? So this is an idea that I had on how you could search the island for voids underground. And if you look at this chart, there is a lot of uranium that's found very close to the island. Now the key to that is when uranium decays. You get a bunch of products from it, and radon is specifically the one. This is a way that we find uranium on the Moon, and we found it on Mars, is looking for radon gas. Radon is a radioactive gas. It forms in trace amounts when deposits of uranium, which is naturally found in rocks and soil, breaks down underground. In recent years, radon detection has been used experimentally as a way to map subsurface features in the energy and mining industries. The idea is, if you have a void underneath the surface, over time, uranium is going to cause this to fill with radon gas, especially if there's no ventilation in it, and this would occur in a fluid-filled cabinet. Absolutely, it does actually. Radon is soluble in most materials. I think what we've learned is that seismic isn't going to work in the money pit area. This too jumbled up. I always love when somebody thinks of something that had just never occurred to me. That's the best kind of information there is. And so Travis Taylor came in with a whole new perspective on maybe how to find cavities through radon testing. And I don't know if we're going to have time for that this year or not, but I'd like to pursue that. So as I started doing this, I started reading more about Oak Island and looking at what it's all about. I came up with sort of my own theory as to what may have happened here. Almost everybody that's been involved in investigating it are Freemasons, exactly beginning with Daniel McGuinness, the man who first discovered the money pit in 187. 1795, the ancient fraternity of master builders known as Freemasons have played a large role in the Oak Island treasure story. Prominent Masonic symbols, such as the letter G, which represents the Grand Architect, as well as the triangle or pyramid, have been found on numerous carbons, both in and around the island. So I started looking into the Freemasons, and one of the first things that jumped out at me was Hiram Avis, Freemason drawing temple there. Actually meanings on this map that are based on astronomy. According to the teachings of Freemasonry, Hiram Abiv was the chief architect of King Solomon's temple in ancient Jerusalem. His so-called drawing template is presented to all Freemasons who join the order's third and highest degree. It depicts many well-known sacred images, such as Jacob's ladder to the heavens and the Holy Grail. So if you continue to look at this drawing table, you see at the top, the hand of God is holding a chalice, or the Holy Grail, or the cup of life. But what the Freemasons use that as a symbol of is as above, so below, right? And you can use that metaphorical or whatever. But if you use it literal, then the way they would draw maps is by as above. So below the stars would be their guide on how they created the map, if they were going to make one. The star on the upper right is actually, if you count there are 7 stars there, it looks like the Pleiades, which is part of Taurus. I got to thinking, is there something that archaeoastronomy might have to do with the island? So I overlaid the constellation on Only Island. What we have are all the stars aligned onto the island. And then you have the Pleiadae, somewhere between the beach and Frog Island. And the point star where this piece would be actually overlays perfectly on Apple Island. This is a star map, one matching the constellation. Taurus to points, not only on Oak Island, but 2 neighbouring islands. But if so, to what does it lead? What it also suggests to me is that we should see if there might be points of interest where the stars are from the constellation. If we follow the right procedure, we might be LED to the point on Oak Island where the actual treasure is. Do you think there's something here? You know, there's too much history to it. There's too much anecdotal clues. Somebody was doing something here, but what, I don't know what the hell was all the works on Apple Island? Well, it might be a starting point. It could be that there's a clue there that tells you how to start. That could be where the key is a trail of information. Absolutely right. I don't know what to make of the possible connection between Oak Island and Apple Island. What does that mean? I don't know. Is it a potential target zone? Absolutely, there's a lot more needs to be done on that, if we are going to pursue it. Travis, thank you very much for all this data. I mean, very interesting. You have enjoyed it. Thanks. So let's do this, Travis. Gary, if you're available. Jack, let's take Travis and we'll show you on the island. So let's have a look. Oh, that sounds great. Following the team's informative meeting in the Oak Island War Room, Marnie Laguna, Jack Bagley, and Gary Drayton take Dr. Travis Taylor over to Lot 2 located on the western side of the island. Travis, why don't we check out your first target spot? Okay, here, right? Jack, you have a better idea where Lot 1 and 2 meet. Do you not? Yeah. Just a little bit further, they are eager to investigate various points on the island that are indicated on what Travis believes to be a massive star map. A map which may point to important clues that could help the team solve the Oak Island treasure mystery. So which way is it follow him, based upon your map? Travis, you can very lightly see the lot lines, and it looks like the first star would be located near the lot line between 3 and 2. Lead on, Maestro. So how do you know where the lot line is? Is there a marker? Stone walls? Travis Taylor is the break guy as a physicist, in many disciplines. So when you add all that up, he might be able to bring a new perspective to the hunt here on about Watch Yourself here, mate. We're getting into the deep part of the lore. That rock wall right there. That's the border of life, 2 and 3. So it should be just on the other side of that, all right? It looks like we've reached the destination that you pointed out on your map. Wow. With the moss and the mulch and the underbrush, it's real hard to see anything. Right? On the map you've created for us, this is just a relative idea. At least 100-foot air bar radio. Okay, I'd say anything, just look. So there's a huge boulder over here. It could be a landmark. We should look at it, right? Yeah, this is a big frock, though. That is a pretty big boulder. This boulder is actually pretty close to your spot. I don't see any other large boulders like this around here, not just sitting there. Right? Well, that's interesting. Yeah. The first point that we came to, there's a large boulder at that, is intriguing. So we're safe as a patent develop. Yeah, right. We go to the next place. All right, let's do this. Having found a stone marker that appears to correspond with one of the places indicated on Travis's star map, the team heads to a second location just south of the Money Pit site. You're about 1,000. So far, keep 1. 1. Interesting spot. 1. Big boulder. All right. There, this'll be one of your spots. This is stone triangle on the right-hand side. Oh yeah. This is one of the spot in 1897 while exploring on the island's southern shore. Treasure hunter. Frederick Blair discovered a mysterious group of round stones that formed a perfect triangle. Even more astonishing was the fact that the apex of the triangle pointed directly towards the Money Pit, unfortunately during a massive excavation conducted by treasure hunter Robert Dunfield in 1965. The so-called stone triangle was destroyed, and although a replica has been built in its place, the precise orientation of the triangle, as well as the location of the original Money Pit shaft, remains unknown. I'm not even going to get my metal detector, because I'm sure I've been detected to death. Right? Oh yeah. Haha. This is one of your points, and there was a stone feature here. Very obvious one that's wild. Right? So 2 for 2. 2 for 2. You're on a roll. And when you're building your map, did you specifically use the stone triangle as one of the points? How did you orient? Well, I know I just tried to make sure that the leg of the bull fit on the island. Oh, it just happened. This is what it is. And in your defense, in terms of what you're looking for here, this has all been heavily bulldozed. Yeah, you can't deny that you're hitting on all cylinders. So that's cool, on to the next. And this is another point where there's some sort of large boulder or a stone monument on Travis's map. Maybe it is actually finally getting connected. The way it was supposed to be, having already marked 2 potentially important locations on the island. Travis Taylor now uses his star map to lead Marty, Jack and Gary to Lot 13, where if his theory is correct, they will find another stone marker. Is that a dirt pile? Is that not a giant stone? Right there. No, that's a rock. Oh, it is. Would be nice to clear this out and look at it better. When yeah, this one has a flat side back here. We are in the general area of where this point's supposed to be. So it's amazing that we've run into big boulders at each point. Yeah, could those stones that we saw be markers that were put there by some human beings a long, long time ago to correspond with a star map? The answer is, of course, they could. We need to get corroborative information, first of all. And then we'll draw, what conclusions we can draw from that. What else do you see for feedback exchange? Well, I would like to see GPS coordinates to the rocks we've been to. Yeah. Then that might help me anchor the map better and move it around. Yeah? Yeah, anyway, thank you very much for having a great day. Been a great day. Pleasure to meet you. We look forward to this feedback exchange and suing fund. All right, great. Hopefully we'll find some before another long day on Oak Island comes to an end. Rick Laguna and Dave Blankenship meet with representatives from Irving Equipment. Limited with come to inspect the structure at stake is whether or not the team's ambitious plan to excavate the cove can continue. Looks like you got it quite dry there. Now, yeah, it doesn't look bad. We did do substantial caulking, okay? We're on the perimeter. Or most of the way around. Yeah, we reduced the water infiltration by a lot, but you can see see those wet spots there. Yeah, so water is coming in. There's no question about that. And, maybe we should walk the perimeter and take a look. Here we initially had some concerns about the amount of water that was infiltrating through the sheet pile locks, and Mike and his team had suggested a couple of different ways to keep that water from infiltrating. But at this point, we're getting a bit more water than we would like to see. And the whole project relies on getting that ground as dry as possible. So we've called Irving and Mike Jordan, and Scott are going to come in today and visit the site and take a look at the problems and hopefully make some suggestions that we can implement. And that will mitigate that problem. See any water? Yeah, that's definitely a leak. And I'm sure there was more of those along here. Oh yeah, they were, again, I guarantee you. And they were like a garden holes on several of these. Yeah, no, that's very common to see that from what I'm seeing right here now. You've got more water coming this way than you have this way. Because right here again, you've got a flow of water that's coming towards your sheets. It's not going away. Right. Obviously, the water is coming from back here somewhere. We all know that. Drops off back there. You're going to want to put a small trench along there. If you were reading here with your trench, come across and then go right across. Stay out of about 6 or 8. To shoot, I would, because Mike Jardy believes the water is not only coming in through the Confidant, but from other natural sources on the island. The Oak Island team will need to dig a trench on the inside perimeter of the cone. This will allow water to collect inside it before being pumped out of the area. I think we'll implement your idea here. Interdict this water coming from the upland? Yep. And then we'll see how that affects that water level. Yep. With that, I think you're going to see a significant difference by controlling the water back there. It's very manageable here now. Because of our efforts to staunch the incoming water, we've been more successful than we perhaps had even anticipated. There's work to be done. We're going to have to put pumps on this. But we can't wait to start digging. It's incredible to think that this has been done. I'm ready to get in there and start digging right now. No, absolutely, Rick. I have this really good feeling. It is a moment of great anticipation for brothers, Rick and Marty Lagina. I woke up this morning thinking, okay, it's time to figure out this island. So good today. Months of careful planning and tireless effort, as well as an investment of over $1 million, are finally about to pay off as the team prepares to break ground on their massive operation at Smith's Cove. Smith's Cove, I think, will go a long way towards answering two of the W's. Right, who possibly, and when. Yes, whoa. Look at that. After successfully sealing the leaks in the copper dam wall and digging trenches to collect and drain out the water. That is quite a structure. The nearly 12,000 square foot area is now dry enough for Rick Marty and their team to begin excavating. Why is this thing running? Will you tell us? Let's get going. Push the tell us they're moving dirt. Finding coins come on as the dig in Smith's coal is about to commence, with that huge structure in place. I am realistically optimistic. It's unlike any other project we've endeavored to do on the island. But I very much look forward to it. Once we find the east log, or the north or south log, we'll be properly oriented, and the dig can proceed. I was thinking we could start digging right where that water is because Rick wants to go parallel to that U-shaped structure. Yeah, guided by photos and surveys, taken during Dan Blankenship's excavation of Smith's Cove. In the early 1970s, the team is beginning their dig on the northwest side of the beach. It is here they hope to uncover what Dan dubbed a mysterious U-shaped structure that reportedly lies buried at a depth of some 10 feet. Hopefully, we can find the self-arm of the U-shaped structure. And I'd love to find a piece with a Roman numeral on it. That would be cool. Oh yeah? I mean, soon as that's exposed, I want to get in there and take a look at it, and get down to the very bottom of it to see what else is down there. There may be broken tools and stuff like that, which Rich can date what time this is. The pictures were, Dan excavated those soils at 10-11 feet down. Could be at surface on some of the... Yeah, we dug and dumped it over. And... yeah, so we need to pay attention from day one up here, as the team dredges up tons of earth and material in search of the U-shaped structure. They will also carefully sort through piles of spoils by means of their newly installed wash plant. The plant will automatically clean and sort the spoils, according to size, in hopes of uncovering historically important artifacts or possible treasure, such as the medieval cross that was discovered by Rick Lagina and Gary Drayton just last year. I can't speak to whether or not there's actual treasure discovery in Swiss Cove, but there's certainly going to be lots of clues. We now are accumulating a very big box of puzzle pieces, and it's about time we start putting the puzzle pieces together. Find anything? Just found that. Just like that. I don't know what it is, that'd be like a hinge. Yeah. I'm sorry, yeah. Exciting for Rick Marty and the Oak Island team? Holy schmoly, all right. It's a cross. That's a cross, what began with the discovery of a small LED cross, has LED to their most ambitious and most expensive engineering project ever conducted at Smith's Cone. But as their excavation efforts finally get underway, what will they find more incredible religious artifacts? The U-shaped structure discovered by Dan Blankenship nearly half a century ago, the stone box drains that have thwarted searcher efforts to dig in the nearby money pit. Or will they find something else? something so incredible it will help them solve a 223-year-old treasure mystery once and for all.